and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Talking That Talk official podcast, where we have comfortable and uncomfortable conversations. I am your host, Juice, aka No Ordinary Brother.
All right, what's good, world? I go by the name of King Exodus. Welcome back to your favorite show. If you're tapping in for the first time, welcome to your favorite show. Make sure you tap into the YouTube channel, Talking That Talk Official Podcast, TikTok, Talking That Talk Official. So let's go, Juice. What we talking about?
All right. Current event. I gotta mention this situation that's going on with Adam 22. If y'all don't know who Adam 22 is, Adam 22 is the host and the creator of the podcast No Jumper. Adam 22 has been with this woman for 7 years. One of the most interesting things about his relationship is him and his wife, they do content together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know how you fellas always thought, like, if I have a woman, I make some money with, we could shoot some hot flicks and do stuff like that. Well, look, him and his relationship, they actually do that. They are a married couple. They have a separate podcast called The Plug Talk. The Plug Talk is basically they interview adult film stars and then they get G with them as soon as the interview is over with.
Okay.
So even in this relationship, they end up having a daughter, right? He said over the weekend, he allowed his woman to step out of a relationship and have sex with another man. And in the midst, he said, well, I didn't think it was going to get to me, but then I realized it affected me. And I've said time and time after again, when you're not comfortable with something, stop trying to act like that shit is cool, right? So this is an interesting thing. I asked him, he was like, hey, how much do you make, on your podcast? He was like, well, I bring in about $1 million a month, with the podcast I do along with No Jumper. About $1 million plus revenue. His side venture with him and his wife and their little podcast, they think that going on, brings in about $500,000. $500,000 is going up to $1 million. Now, one thing they said in the relationship, she asked him early on was like, hey, listen, I don't have to do this type of stuff with you. You know what I'm saying? I could stay at home and I could be a mother to our child. I don't necessarily have to do this line of work. In his mind, he was thinking like, listen, I don't want to hold you back in your career. So no, let's go ahead. Let's proceed what you like to do. Listen, there's a thought in my mind and process. What I've been seeing is, this is me personally. If a man can make the money and have his woman stay home, I think there's like this thing going around like, listen, I don't know, you should do that. You should let your woman go 100% after what she wants to do. But she had the option of being a stay-at-home wife, right? And the more interesting thing about this is also a couple that goes 50-50 on everything. Oh, yeah, they're white. I keep trying to tell y'all, this is not just the black thing or anything like that. But like I said, nonetheless, he allowed his woman to proceed forward and have sex with another man. And then he realized it's affecting him. And I always said to myself, listen, when you're not comfortable, like I said, if you're not comfortable with something, why would you proceed forward with? He's bringing in almost $2 million a month. His wife could stay at home, but he let her move forward in the career of being a porn star. And he felt like he would be holding her back if he told her no. Like I said, now he's regretting everything. So I just kind of want your thoughts on the situation. You're making $1.5 million a month. Your wife tells you, listen, there's a guy that's willing to pay me to have sex with him. We do content with each other, but I don't have to do it. Do you believe in just saying no, or you just believe in like, hey, listen, I don't want to stop you from being the best that you can. I know we're married. We got our thing on the side. We got a daughter too. But yeah, go ahead. Proceed forward. I'm just kind of curious on what's your thoughts on that.
You got family potential, you know what I'm saying, with your woman, and you got hope potential with your woman. Yeah. So that hope potential, nah, man, Kevin Samuels, all of them say, she for the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's only so many things you can do inside of marriage and a relationship that, a lot of people, like you say, they pretend like they're okay with certain things when they really not. They allow people to do things because they feel as though they have to allow them to be free to a certain extent so that they don't lose the relationship or whatever the case is. Look, you have to have boundaries. You have to have standards. You have to have requirements. That's what keeps people respecting you in relationships, not just intimate, just any type of relationship. So, yeah, you know, it's 2023. A lot of people is into some. Now, if y'all like on some swinging shit, hey, have at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? We had a comment.
Never
So
had
he's
an open
gone.
relationship.
Appreciate
Never had
that.
an open relationship.
Keep it going, you know what I mean? But if y'all swinging it and that's what y'all do, and that's y'all thing, great. To each his own. But if you got somebody that's into certain things that you're not into, it's going to create some type of confusion or conflict at some point. So, word to the wise, every relationship and faithfulness is not about money. I know a lot of people like to throw that around. Well, if the man made the money, she wouldn't do this, she wouldn't do that. That's cap. It's based on each individual. You know what I mean? A person can be in a perfect situation and still fuck it up.
Hmm?
Fellas, it's not always us that fuck up the perfect situations.
That's
All
right,
right.
fellas.
You know
That's right, fellas.
what I mean? So, yeah, that's wild, man. I couldn't do that. Nah, I
Hey,
couldn't do that.
listen. Okay, listen. Now, Whack 100 taught him, and then we'll get back to the subject. Taught him was like, listen, your wife got hit different. Things might not ever be the same for you, bro. If you was in there for 7 years and you know what I'm saying, you do the dude, the next man come around, you got to know you make sure you compete with it. Now, the most interesting thing I seen in the comment came from the wife. She said, hey, I'm just, work is work.
That's
I'm
work.
like, I don't know if I can ever get past that. I mean, do you believe like sex work is work, or could something actually be connected with having sex with another individual, even though they're trying to dismiss it as work?
Only way I can see something like that, work is work, is if you met that person and that was already their work. But
Yeah.
it's not going to be a new career for a married woman. You know what I mean? Like,
Amen.
you know, if you marry a porn star and she already a porn star, hey, okay, work is
Work
work.
is work.
But if it's something new, nah. I mean, but there are some people out there that marry porn stars, you know. Like I said, to each
Hey,
his own.
listen, they sure do, and they be at them with every video shoot, giving their wife water bottles and towels. Like, yeah, baby, let me wipe your face. You got something. And hey, listen. Let's get back on the subject, man. Let's get back on the subject, man. But I just wanted to open that up, man. Like, listen, in any relationship, do not open up something you know you're uncomfortable with. Listen, I said it before myself. If you tell me something you cool with, and I do it, and then I find out you're not cool with it, we're not talking no more after that. I don't like the back and forth, the mastermind. Oh, I was just gonna see if you was gonna do it. Hey, listen, man, I'm gonna do it.
Give me the answer.
All right, brother, go ahead, man. Go ahead and talk about the subject, man.
Zion. All right, defending accountable women. There's a lot of things going on right now. So I'm in the comedy skits. Shouts out to Country Wayne. He got a comedy skit. Long story short, I make it brief. You had this young lady who's dating this guy that's incarcerated, gang member, gang leader, and outside looking in, her family is like, you know, trying to pull her away from this man while he's incarcerated. So dude gets out, of course, him and the daughter, they start picking things up, and the family is constantly trying to get her away from this man. You know what I'm saying? She's not leaving. So, you know, the mother, she separated from her, like, hey, look, if this is what you're going to do, I'm going to do with it. Same thing with the father. So eventually they reached a point of relationship to where uh, this young man found somebody else. He moved on. So then she continued to chase him down, threaten his relationship, hold leverage over his head, do all types of things to not let this man go. So what does this man do? He goes back to her family and say, look, your daughter is crazy. She followed me. She won't let me go. So that's the conversation that he had with both of her parents. So the father approached his daughter, and the conversation he had with her after she finally broke down and told him that, yeah, all this is true. He was like, baby, you the prize. You the trophy. You this. You don't chase no man. He probably don't even know what he want, you know, and he put it to her like she is the innocent one that just don't know what she's doing right now. And he's the loss. He's the person that's taking the loss, when in actuality, he actually found somebody that was better for him. And she was the person that was keeping him kind of in this low measure a little bit more. This new chick is kind of keeping him a little bit more balanced. So that really struck me, and I was just like, okay, cool. Fathers don't keep it 100 with their daughters all the time. So you can't really defend your daughter because she's not even being held accountable for her actions in that situation because you're making her out to be the victim outside looking in, even though you know she's doing some crazy shit. All right. So we're going to break this down into like 3 or 4 different segments to where uh, women can be the aggressive person or the person that's in error. But when people look at the situation and try to play the hero game or give people advice, they'll paint the woman out to be the innocent person in the story. So that's the intro to the conversation. I'll let you do your thing.
Oh man, hey, listen, I'm here for a good time, brother. I would say this, man. It's it, it's a lot of situations like that I've been through personally, as well as like whether it's TV series or movies or anything like that. These are like true actions. The other individual will be showing the signs of aggression while you think it's the other person the whole time. A person who can play an innocent role for so long has already mastered it, right? Sometimes I used to always say to myself whenever I have a breakup with an individual, and everybody tells a story, but how much do you really tell of that story? Do you make it seem like, hey, listen, it was that guy, he was crazy, I was innocent the whole time, or do you tell the actual story? Because sometimes I realize people defend foolishness because they don't know the truth. Like it's been plenty of times I had to walk up to a man might approach me on some like tough guy shit from another woman, and I'm looking at the girl like, hold on, what did you tell this man before me and him go at it? You don't even know the whole story. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can paint a picture so vivid, the imagination hit it. But in reality, the people can see through it. It ain't shit. But yeah, let's go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. You brought up an intro a couple of episodes back, and pretty much within that intro, you was pretty much saying that the father, right, is the person that's supposed to be the most honest with his daughter. And that's absolute facts. A lot of times within this society, if fathers are present or father figures, right, they're not keeping it 100% authentic with the young women that they give counsel to. And this creates a lot of confusion. This kind of goes back to the whole Kevin Samuels approach. You know what I'm saying? It might have been a little tough for a lot of people, but it shouldn't have been shock value because you should have had a grandpa, a daddy, an uncle, a cousin, somebody that had that same type of energy. That should not have been the first time you heard a man speak in that particular fashion. And a lot of times when women would call the show, they would all use the word toxic, traumatized, traumatic. And his first thing is like, okay, so what are you doing to heal this trauma? Are you in therapy? Like, what are you doing to heal? If we can pinpoint a problem, now we can look for solutions. But a lot of times we want to live with the problems and never find solutions and continue to be the victim relationship after relationship, situation after situation. So eventually we have to look at the person in the mirror. So this is where the masculine energy comes in women's life in particular, in the form of a father or a father figure. And this should start early. You know what I'm saying? Early is like 8, 9, 10, 12. It should be very early to where men have these type of conversations with women growing up. And what tends to happen is what I've seen on some toxic shit from men is when they quote unquote get their daughters the game, they're telling them, oh, men ain't shit. Don't trust no man. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? That's not how you do it. You give them real. Now, you're not shit, and it took you 50 years to become a man and stop doing your shit. That's you. You be honest and say, baby girl, I ain't shit. It took me 50 years to stop my shit. That's how you convey that message, right? Because let's say that young lady do grow up, meet a man that has the potential, her guards is already up because of the negative shit she heard from men. So this really won't be about women talking to young women and giving them advice. It's all about men giving women the advice. So a young lady should not grow up and be clueless to how to pick the correct man because her father or another man should have already gave her that game. Now, this is the problem. If you're surrounded by men in your family that aren't men, who's going to tell you what a man is? Man, I don't want to do this too much. I don't want to do this, man. You go ahead.
Man, hey, we're going to start offline,
You
but
do this, man. I don't do this,
I
man.
listen. I'm gonna be real cold real quick. Like, some of the advice that men give to their daughters is actually them telling them about themselves. and,
Mm-mm.
and what they'll say, like, what a real man, listen,
Right. Don't trust me.
it's been times, man. Um, I had got real honest with a woman. Like, she would tell me, like, well, my daddy told me this. Our daddy told me, like, listen, your daddy sound like a bitch. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, uh, some people don't want to hear the truth behind the man they idolize, right? The man that gave them everything. The man who told her it was beautiful every day. That pretty baby girl, you gonna have the world. Like, don't ever settle for less. But at the same time, if you really reflect in his love life, make sure the same thing he has told you, he has given to another woman.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about that part. It's all about you, what you should get from another man, but also make sure he is giving the same things he has said that you should be receiving to another woman, like your mother or somebody he's in a relationship with. That's one of the most crucial facts that nobody wants to rely on. Sometimes the proof is in the pudding. The proof should reflect within your father's life. Man, I think I'm doing so much, man. I'm not doing that. But nah, I ain't doing enough. Anyway, so one of the things that when it comes to this daddy-daughter relationship, I do like to, I always say this, man, you got to be careful with the princess approach. The funniest thing, like, I'll take jabs at women sometimes. Hey, yep, just take a little jab. Like, if a woman tell me past 35 she's a princess, I'll be like, no wonder you haven't graduated to a queen yet. These are steps you should have already taken upon in your life. If you still feel like you should be receiving everything as a princess and not as a queen who's there to help rule with another man, to facilitate certain actions and curriculums, there's a reason why behind it, love. You got to be able to step into the position at the same time. Another thing I would also say is don't be scared to compare your family against other men. This is one of the most crucial statements, crucial things you can ever do is see how do they measure up to other men in certain scenarios and statements, right? If, let's say a situation pop off, if your family has always been the type to act violent in a situation in order to handle situations, that's what you're going to be prone to and attached to. If you see other men try to talk it out, say, let's walk our separate ways, say, listen, we can do this as men, be grown, shake each other's hands and dismiss this, or we can be men and go down the combat way. I mean, listen, I feel like the second way is always the best way because you get to see a man's really putting his foot down and show him, hey, listen, there's a time to be aggressive and there's a time to be passive. I'm letting you know I'm with whatever, but I'm going to show you what the proper energy he needs to display. That's just me, man. That's just me,
Okay, okay. A little bit more on this part of the conversation. The conversations that men have with their daughters, like I don't know too many men that just keep it honest and be like, hey, baby girl, you wrong.
man.
And then let's build a conversation from there. Like I said, within the opening, it's a guy who found out his daughter was chasing another guy on the crazy side of things. And instead of telling her she was wrong and building up the conversation from that point, he praised her, right? So it's like, that's a conflict. Like, if I'm having a conversation with my daughter, or any child for that matter, we don't start the conversation that when I ask you to tell me what happened, tell me what you did. If you don't start off with I make you start the whole sentence over. And we're going to keep doing it until you start off with I did, blah, 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 blah. Okay, bet. Once you admit what you did, then we can analyze why you did it. And then I need to hear you say that you were wrong. And then you need to go apologize to who you need to apologize to. See, I don't think that people do these type of exercises with their daughters or young women in their family. You know what I mean? So, and this can lead into another part of the conversation. We had Miss Hood in Chicago, the 14-year-old, the mother of the 14-year-old son who killed the guy because he put hands on his mother. When they did that press conference, the media was asking questions that I would ask. Okay, ma'am. So what led to this argument? No comment. Ma'am, so why didn't you just walk away and leave? No comment. You see, like, we want to jump to the conflict, straight to the conflict, especially as black people. Somebody was like, man, if that was your mom, you would have did the same thing. And it was like, oh, probably wouldn't have let that many shots go. Just being honest. Maybe after the first shot, I figured, shit, if he didn't knock your mama out, you 14 years old, you probably could take him after one shot. I don't know. But needless to say, we look at what the man did in that situation, which was wrong. No lie. But something had to build up to that man being that angry with that woman.
Mhm.
And I say it all the time. We say it all the time. Look, what is a woman doing arguing with a man if you know you can't whip his ass?
I say that all the time.
You know, men don't even argue with other men if they know they can't whoop his ass, or they ain't 30 deep, or they ain't got the gun on them, like right now.
Mhm.
They're not even going to argue with another man. They going to know, shit, you got this one, fam.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I'll catch you later if it's that serious, but men have that smartness. And another thing that struck me, how a lot of people not looking at the full story of how she was wrong. My father told me one time he was out with my sister, and there was a group of guys that wouldn't let him walk by. My dad get busy. Like, that's nothing to him. But he had to catch himself before he snapped and did his thing. He said, I got baby girl with me. I gotta bow down in this one. I gotta let him have it. You see that? Like, if your child is with you, you don't have time for conflict and chaos.
Mhm.
If you sense any type of negativity leading to violence, your child with you. You need to leave. It's time to de-escalate, walk away. You feel me? So this goes back to defending accountable women. Now, that dude did what he did. He defended his mother. But that's the type of shit to where it's like if you with the homies and some shit pop off, you ride with them right or wrong. But as soon as y'all get in the car, as soon as y'all get back to the hood, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Immediately, bro.
you got to have that conversation. Like, that shit was uncalled for. You was wrong. You know what I mean? So that's not the conversation that people are having. They're making it out like she was 100% a victim. So I'll let you do your thing on that.
Man, listen, I said it before during when we did the coverage on that situation. I'm like, listen, one, you had too many spectators that people could have intervened and said something, right? But people, we gotta remember, we're in this day and age, like even people trying to help out, sometimes they get in situations just trying to help out. So that's another thing. I always said, pay attention because men do have a habit of saying several words before they go into action, right? So it's been in situations I'm in, right? Somebody be like, you know what? You say one more motherfucking thing, it's over. Like this is these like it's rare that me personally, I guess you could say it's anecdotal, but the majority of times it's always a thin line you cross before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
The man's thin line was, lady, get your food and go about your day. You say another thing, I'm like, bro, these are words that it's compounding, it's building up, actions about to happen. I know if I'm in that situation, okay, cool. It's getting to that topic. It's getting there. So it's either I'm gonna keep talking and I know we're gonna get violent, or I'm gonna be like, hey bro, you got it, I'm gonna get my food and leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? But another thing is when conflicts like that happen, we feel a certain way if we don't respond back the way we think we should, right? If you responded violently, hey listen, I gotta respond back violently. I can't let nobody look at me weak. I can't go out like that. Like, listen, I gotta put y'all pride aside because that was also a situation where you never know what can happen. What's on the side? You know, like I said, as I look at that whole situation, you got more people starting to speak out about it. Like I said, even for that young boy, like I said, hey, how's he gonna get how's he gonna get out of that situation? One of the major things I said, like, listen, he could look at it like, listen, I defended my mother. Another situation, another individual, he can look at, listen, I caught my first body, got away with it. All right, it's always a pride thing, an ego thing, and a at the moment thing. At the moment, you was defending. Later down the line, you might use it as feel like, shit, I got away with it. I know people who talk about they got away with cases like nothing, but during that actual moment in their life, they're like, I was defending myself, man. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to escalate like that. But, however, they're going to use it as fuel and leverage to empower themselves into a manner that they felt like was them, but it wasn't them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you act on certain things that's not you, but you feel like, okay, I did it. It was instincts. It's in me. I knew what I And you know what I'm talking about? Like people be thinking some things in them, but they're just reacting. But man, like I said, you got to be very precautious. Main thing, me and him both being ex ribs, like bro, if there was a man in this situation, none of that would have happened. But that's why I
Right.
love Kevin Tevin said, listen, for every woman who wants to be defended, you need to get a man. That's literally your go-to protection. It's your man. If you don't have a man who's a Mexican man, your son. That was literally what happened. Mm.
Mhm. Right. And I would just simply say, like, even in a personal experience, um, I'm pretty sure we know somebody, a female that was in an abusive relationship physically.
Mm.
There's some family members that probably went and checked that shit. There's some friends that probably went and checked that
Mm.
shit. And most likely, guess what happened? The female went right back to that relationship. So what tends to happen is a lot of guys that end up in the graveyard or incarcerated behind defending a woman that ended up going back to the abusive relationship. Now, this is not the episode where we evaluate and analyze psychologically why this happens,
Mm.
but it's just pointing out the obvious that these things tend to happen. And it kind of links back to childhood. Not always childhood trauma, but the fact that maybe you never heard somebody just sit you down, give you the game, and tell you how you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, there's even some women that can hear somebody tell them, hey, look, that dude ain't no good for you. What do? They still go. Curiosity kills the cat. So when it comes down to defending accountable women, the first thing we have to do as men is play our role in creating accountable women. Like, I can't let you get away with shit your whole life, and then when you become an adult, you're going to get out there and make all the right decisions in men and relationships.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, and it's not even just about women and men. It's a lot of women that fuck up their friendships with other women, right? Be dead ass wrong. And when they tell their story to other people, people back them up because of their relationship with them. Since that's your family member, that's your friend, whatever, you're not going to tell them they're wrong. That's a problem,
Mm.
right? So just had to throw that out there. We've all seen women go back to abusive relationships, whether they got defended or not. A lot of times they did get defended. They just still went back to it. So we do have a situation where sometimes people really just pick their own poison until they get tired of it. Sometimes people just go through situations until they decide to end those cycles or whatever have you. So I just have to point it out there. A lot of times women go through situations, right? And then they scream out, no one is protecting them. But if somebody just gave you advice, that was protection. If somebody gave you any words of wisdom, that was protection, right? Everything that somebody gave you within a positive realm of energy and advice when it comes to relationships or any type of situation, that was your protection. So protection is not always showing up. And that's what I hate about things. A lot of times people will create conflict and chaos and then expect people to ride for them no matter what.
Nah.
Like, that's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. You know what I mean? So on one end, we have a lot of women in the community that say men don't do this, men don't do that. But on one end, a lot of women abuse that energy. She knows she got brothers, cousins, somebody that come and fuck shit up on sight.
Oh,
It kind of get them extra, you know, like they just go around picking fights. Like, because I know somebody gonna pull up. Like, we got to stop that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in the culture, gang culture, or whatever, you can't just go around and put your people in situations where they'll get killed because you know you got somebody behind you. Like, that's not what you're supposed to do with that type of energy. So I'll let you take it somewhere else.
oh man, nah, I was about to say, man, that was great. Listen, I know women who throw that bait out there like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Touch me, you want to? I got a brother, knock your ass out. Hey, listen, they'll mention the brother, the cousin, the uncle, the crazy baby daddy, the ex. He's shooting everything. Like, yo, like sometimes things are very chaotic. That's what I said. Like, you know, masculine energy is more so structure. You know, feminine energy is very emotional. You got to understand what are you tapping into as you speak. Like I said, every time I feel like I'm about to give a negative response to certain things, my body heats up. That's how I know I'm responding in a negative manner. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's certain things where you study yourself, you start understanding. Like I said, listen, there's been some wrong and right situations you ride for. You check your homie right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I remember one time I got jumped, man. I remember one time I got jumped. I remember after that got jumped, man. I'm like, yo, what was this about, man? Man, you know, he said something. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, there's way more people than there's way more people on their side than on our side, bro. Like, you know, some people don't even think, right? It's like, listen, I'd rather go out fighting and swinging than go out just being smart. I never understood. I never understood situations like that. In fact, when situations like that got so chaotic, bro, I just start keeping my distance. Get a call like, hey, yo, so and so said this and that. Like, listen, we about to go ride. There's about 3 of us right now. All right, bro, like, I'll be there. I ain't going. I ain't going. Listen. You know the people who start shit all the time.
Right.
It's to a point you don't let them in your car no more. If you go out and they're there, you don't go there no more. it's all that, because once you start seeing through the smoke and mirrors and you riding based on loyalty and their word, you see a lot of them are just constant fuck ups. Chaos is how they thrive. It's not really something that you want to be around. One of the things I would also say when it comes to these daddy-daughter situations is, one thing I'm learning as I'm getting older is, listen, the best way you can always do things is to keep it up front and honest, and always give them multiple scenarios of how the situation can go about, or how it has, or what it's escalating into. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I think some of the weirdest things, this is me, I see some people that are brothers and sisters, the sister come back with a story, and brother know exactly what's going on, and he'll just be like, hey, listen, you need to work that out. I'd be like, I mean, listen, bro, like, if you know what's going on, it's best you direct your sister the best way you can. I don't, you know, game recognize game, or do something. Like, some men look at that, I want to be playing. You know what? Fuck this shit, bro. I got to talk about this. I know people who are brothers and sisters. The brother might have a homeboy that likes his sister, knowing the homeboy not even good for the sister, but he looking at it like, listen, you know, I ain't gonna shoot you. I ain't gonna deny you from doing your thing. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like you set your own family members up for failure, knowing they're dealing with the same type of person you are. If you fuck up, sometimes you hang with fuckers, bro. Like, let's just be very honest. But I don't even know how to get on that situation. I just see that a couple of times, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's certain key things that me and my homies have always had, like when it came to any woman and our family structure. Like, listen, you talk to a family member, just understand where that can go between our relationship. So you respect it. Hey, listen, we gonna be good. If things go left, our relationship can go left as well. Then you have some dudes that be like, hey, listen, that's our relationship, not our relationship, man. We're gonna keep it funky. I'm like, man, she beat your sister. Hey, listen, man. It's some crazy shit I didn't witness in my life, man.
Okay.
Yeah, man. That's all I got,
More personal. I think when I was about 12 years old, my mother, based on my viewpoint, she was in an abusive relationship for like 4 years. You know what I'm saying? This was like my introduction. First time I seen somebody like in front of me, like gang bang and all this types of things. And the older I got, I was like, man, dude doing my mama wrong. Like, I'm gonna hurt this dude one day. You know what I'm saying? Carried that energy, you know, started working out. That's not why I started working out, but that kind of like fueled that fire. And the older I got, I started having problems with my mother, and I was like, oh shit. It like it rung a bell. It was like, God damn, you was doing the same thing that I got. You had everybody ready to rip his head off, and it was really you. A lot of times through age, especially being a man and looking at like women in these type of situations, you have to remember these types of situations, because it gives you like a GPS navigation that every time that instinct come and you ready to protect and step in and fuck shit up, you have to think like, damn, sometimes people really abuse this energy, right? So needless to say, I've been through situations like that outside looking in. A lot of times you don't really understand how wrong somebody can be until that person cross you, right? So that's one of my things in that. So one thing I've seen with women is some women abuse their female companionships, especially if they ain't got a man. Especially if they ain't got a son. Now, if they ain't got a son and they ain't got a man, guess what? That female friend, you gonna be the man. Somebody gonna be that man.
Hey, listen,
you feel me? So I've seen that a lot of times.
Them brunch groups exist for a reason.
I've seen
The brunch groups exist for a reason.
So I've seen that happen a lot of times where single women put their burdens on their friends, their female friends. You know what I'm saying? They expect them to pay for things. They expect for them to listen to them and be available to them whenever they want to talk, whenever they want to go out. And the worst thing you can do when you got this type of female friend, ladies, tell me if I'm wrong, let you go out and get in a relationship and you're not available no more. You broke the code. You ain't shit now because you happy, you in a relationship, your shit is thriving, right? So now that same woman will try to destroy your relationship, put negative thoughts in your head. You know what I mean? So I just have to throw that out there when it comes to defending accountable women. Women don't just have this type of energy towards men, they have it towards their female friends. So needless to say, if you want a companion, if you want relationship treatment, you go get that from a man. You know what I'm saying? You really want to be G about it, and you don't want to settle with one man, you go get you multiple men. Whatever you got to do to get all your itches, your itches scratched. But
I'm signing
your
it off, man.
female
Yeah,
friend is
terrible.
not your man. She's never your man. She ain't got to answer the phone when you call. She ain't got to be there through whatever you go through. She ain't got to give you money if your bill's late. Like, your female friend is not your man. So you got it.
Terrible advice. So you'll get you a couple men. And listen, when she watched that video later, I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, but Daddy said I get multiple men. Yeah, it's right here on the podcast. Hey, listen, y'all take that on the chin.
All right. You gotta do.
Hey, at least you're honest. Hey, you're honest though. So that's all that matters. Um, One thing I wanted to talk about that you just said, like, listen, even like when it comes to relationships with women friends, I definitely do believe some of them believe they're actually in a relationship with each other. They might not say it like, hey, we go together, but if y'all always together, y'all go together. And that emotional bond is something they're not willing to separate, especially when the attachment is there, but your time is no longer there present, right? I
Mhm.
see women tell women like, hey, listen, my friend going through something. Your friend ain't going through shit. She's just telling you she's going through something to get you to move around from what you got going on. I see it time again. Another time I just seen a woman cancel out on a date because she's like, well, listen, she was there for me when another guy uh, did her wrong. I like, what that got to do with what's going on now? Well, I just want to be able to show that support. Listen, it sometimes it gets so good that you don't realize some of them third wheel dates that now y'all all in a relationship. But really, she's watching how you treat her, so she know how to keep the emotion. Like, listen, he didn't open that door for you that time. He walked off and didn't give us both water. She got you a water. Like, I'm dating her, not you. But hey, I can be generous. I can be courteous. It's not mandatory.
Mhm.
And that's another thing. Listen, like, come on, girl. Like, you brought me with a man, and he don't want to pick up all our tabs, just you and his tab. Like, listen,
Hey,
y'all all gonna
hey,
be in a relationship.
we
Huh?
doing something together after we leave this motherfucking restaurant? Like, you
Hey,
know what I mean? What we doing? We
listen,
doing
I
that?
guess your job's coming off too, huh?
You know what I mean? If we
Hey,
in this
man,
together, we in this all the way.
listen, the unnecessary body language you get in any of those situations is really telling a story.
Mhm.
It's really telling a story. It's like either you're not treating the friend as the person you need to treat them as, or hey, listen, you about to steal my girlfriend, and she's not my girlfriend.
Mhm.
Peep
Right.
situations like that very closely when it comes to relationships. I ain't never been in a situation where, like, hey man, yeah, you always spend the time with your girl, bro. Like, hey man, like, nah, they ain't cool, bro. Like, men will look at each other like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But women look at each other like, we know what, girl, I will make some time for you. This, I'll try to do my best. That's why one of my favorite things I talked about multiple times is like I like seeing my homies in relationships. So it helps me in a different light in a manner. I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for them as well. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this is what it's like when you focus on one individual, focus on your family. It's like the outcomes that can happen when, you know, when two's working as one. So that's all I got right there.
One of my last points. I know you got something for this one. There should not be a fear factor if a man is related or friends with a woman and he got to tell her the truth. A lot of women cry on men's shoulders, and it's a fear factor there. They're scared that if I keep it 100, it's going to be some type of conflict. It's going to be some type of problem. They might cut me off, whatever. That's trash. That is completely trash. I remember one time I was having a conversation with a man, and we was talking about like the whole like the family structure, you know, black men, black women, and I'm on some shit like, yo, we gotta take our families back. You know what I'm saying? The women shouldn't be at the head of the families. You know, men gotta step up and do this, blah blah blah. That nigga looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, we gotta do it. You ain't taking nothing back from them. You crazy? Like that's when I looked at him like, oh, you got that little dick energy. Like you ain't on your man shit. Like you scared. You scared. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is like, yo, let's get in this car. Let's put in this work. Let's go. You like, nah, man, this ain't right. You that guy. You that guy. I'm like, yo, we gotta get on our energy. Like, yo, you can't be scared to keep it 100 with nobody. You know what I mean? Like, so, especially if it's just a conversation about letting people know when they're in error. So everybody needs to hear when they're wrong. But I have noticed it's a fear factor. A lot of men don't know how to tell women the truth. And that's so crazy. That's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? So especially if you have a woman's best interest, be it your friend or your family member, you have to be honest. Even if you get pushback, you still have to be honest. You know, that's the biggest way you protect them is by being honest. Like if you don't have that type of honesty, then you're not being a protector. A protector is not always physical. Sometimes you do it verbally. Sometimes you do it intellectual. So you know, it's crazy within this community, but it's like people are scared to tell people the truth, and this is how we move. So you got something on the whole fear factor thing?
Oh man, I would say, listen, do it scared, do it fearful, but do it at the same time. I don't think I understand when you don't. It's bad. It's bad when you don't say something and something bad happens when you could have prevented it. That's one of the best things that I've been trying to tell people. Listen, your words matter to certain people, otherwise they wouldn't be around you. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're just extracting you for their, you know, for their narcissistic behavior or whatever they got going on. But other than that, bro, like you do want to be able to say certain things. Like one of the things about mentorship, also about having mentors is like, listen, I have different mentors. They teach me in different ways. Some are more aggressive, some are more aggressive with their approach, being direct with me. Some are more, they'll ask me in format of questions to get me to think. And then some people will be like, listen, here's your guidance right here. Either path you choose, that's on you now. And that's some of the things you got to be able to connect with people. You got to be direct with them, ask them a series of questions to get them to think in a certain way that you understand. Like, okay, listen, if I ask a series of questions, then they'll be able to think better about the situations and scenarios and individuals they're around. And you can also label that map for them. Like, listen, no matter what direction you choose, this is the path you chosen. Those have always been some of the best ways I have been able to grow through leadership development, communication, be able to connect on an empathetic way. And that's why some people will look at you as, like you said, a big brother, uncle, cousin, stepdaddy, whatever the fuck it is. It's all about who you are as an individual and the energy you display when giving information. One thing I will say is some men are fearful of giving a woman guidance if they feel like they're giving them guidance in a manner that make them see them in a different light, right? I don't know if you ever gave somebody advice that you really like, and then the advice and the conversation you have, they're like, well, you know, I see you as a friend more with the conversations that we have. And I have seen that as well. But fuck it, you gotta do it. Like I'd rather do that. I'm glad you actually had that right reaction. You're like, who gives a shit? Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. You have some men that look at it and listen, if I give them too much time and information, they'll more so put me in a different category. As in, if they earn my time, in a certain way, I can show them like, listen, well, me as your man, I'm able to do this for you. Hey, listen, bro, that leverage stick is a motherfucker. How people think when scenarios go through their mind. I just rather keep it real with you.
Right. You know, you got too many dudes trying to pipe, too many dudes trying to be looked at, you know what I'm saying, as being glorious with angel wings on, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fucking problem. Like, you know. One thing I'll say is this is why a lot of men get discouraged from getting married or being in relationships, is because they see what a lot of men go through in relationships and marriages. They like, look, you pay for the house. Fuck it. Let's say you don't pay for the house. Let's say y'all 50-50, whatever. You have input in the house. You paying something. You coming home every day. She was wrong about something, but you got to sleep on the couch. Like, damn, I ain't doing that.
I told you before, I don't believe that.
You was right, but you let her win all the arguments. Like, a lot of men see men get handled rough in relationships, and we don't talk about that. We don't. We see the man sleep on the couch, even if they right. We see the men give up all the arguments, even if they right. And they be miserable as fuck. As soon as they leave work, where they go? To the corner store. They get their beers, right? They got to be intoxicated just to go home. They got to sit in the driveway before they go in the house. You know what I mean? Because they know that woman, she's always right. What's mine is hers. What's hers is hers. We hear that all the time. Happy wife, happy life. Yo, a lot of men be like, yo, fuck that. If that's what I got to go through, fuck that. So there's a problem. We're not like holding women accountable if the woman is always right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the toxic side of relationships that we don't have conversations behind. But yo, we could talk about men cheating every day. We talk about men not taking care of their kids every day. But we're not talking about the women that's actually in relationships and marriages that had that man being like a stranger in his own home. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much confusion and conflict, and he got to bow down to everything. So I'll let you do your thing.
Man, listen, have y'all ever seen a dog walk in a room not knowing what's going to happen? That's some men's life. Like, they walk around and they kind of look around, they see you, but they put their head back down. That's some men's real life.
It be the marriages
and relationships, bro. They're a dog that don't know what the fuck is going on. They've been there all their life. Still don't know what the fuck going on. Still don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, listen, I'm gonna get petted today. They're gonna yell at me today. Like, how do I ask for food? I'm telling you, it's crazy. That's one of the things that we always talk about. Is like, sometimes men look at what other men go through, and that's one of the reasons why men get involved in relationships, so they don't. I know some men like, if I get married, I need a prenup, and then it's all different things. Like, the minute you said wrong or right, she's right. I remember Denzel Washington said that one of his
how you been married for long?
I've been married for this long, and just know she's always right, and just shut up. I was like, no, man, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. Like, everything in my body, bones, and mind is gonna tell me, fuck this shit. Like, X will tell you, I have a lot of fuck this shit moments when I be talking to women. I be like, nah, bro, I can't do this shit. Listen, let me go ahead and be a lone wolf a little bit longer. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna be good, because it's like I say, bro, it's toxic. It's mind constraining in that no matter what you do as a man, when you're right, it's okay to make them right and just be like, hey, listen, fall back. Like, fuck that. If you can't course correct or hear what I'm saying to you to make our relationship better, hey, bro, leave that shit alone. I guess for me, bro, I never understood why some people are scared to be on their own and just get better. I understand there's better quality out there.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, listen, man, like some people say they've been in a relationship so long, they don't want to start something new with somebody else. Hey, fuck that. I ain't got no problem starting something new with somebody else. Never gonna have that problem. What I'm gonna do? Hey, as soon as we break up, I'm gonna hit the weight room. Then we'll go through, I'll go on Instagram, hit a couple swipes, hit a couple swipes. Reply to these talking that talk DMs, Hey, listen, man, you never know what you're at.
I ain't telling the truth. I ain't telling the truth. I've been in what? Let me delete this shit, man. Let me delete this shit. I'm gonna follow this shit. This ain't what this for. But yeah, so yeah, that happens. And this is going to be one of my closing points. Yo, the old school guys fucked us young guys in relationships, man. Like the whole yes man shit, like they mastered that shit. I mean, like you talk to an old guy that's been married and been in relationships, and it's just like they don't even have a. It's like they just numb. Like Novocaine down. Like they just present. I guess they say it's cheaper to keep her. I don't know, but that fucked up a lot of shit. I tell you that 100%. When these women say they want a traditional man, I see why. You talking about the older dudes that just, you know what I'm saying? Just, yeah, baby, you got it. Yo, I'm just to be honest, like it's 2023. Men ain't like that no more. No, nobody's like that anymore. So we have to negotiate the terms of the contracts. Like we got to come back to the table, go back to the drawing board. Like man is just not on that shit no more. So they just take whatever. You know what I mean? So and women ain't been on that shit for a long time. So now that we're on the same terms, let's talk, let's negotiate, let's work, let's build. But the
Contract relationship.
no, they got some they just built different. I can't fuck with that. They built different. I say that 100%.
Man, listen, that contract relationship, what I tell you, like Hollywood, and listen, for a year, this is an agreement of our relationship. Hey, as soon as that year up, hey, listen, would you like to renew for 6 months? Okay, what would you like to add that you didn't like in the previous contract? Oh, this is what I'm going to add. That you want to go a little longer? Hey, listen, I'm about to up the ante on these contracts, man. Like, listen,
Sure.
just doing contracts all year long, man.
Yep,
I like you with dudes, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, listen, man.
Yeah, I will say this, like, look, everybody, whether you're a man or a woman, especially if you're a woman, because we're talking to women tonight, you need men in your life that's going to be brutally honest with you. Even if, like, a lot of times you don't grow unless your feelings get hurt. Sometimes it takes pain in order to grow. If you have people that's constantly kissing your ass and taking your side 100% of the time, one thing I like is when women cheat or they get their get back and they be like, well, I wouldn't have did it if he didn't do this or he didn't do that. Look, psychologically, that energy was already in you. That's why you was able to tap into that energy. You know what I mean? So it's not like you just tapped into a defense mechanism. You tapped into energy that was already there, waiting. We don't want to have that conversation. So anything a man do, he's automatically wrong. Anything you do, you're reacting to the wrong that he did. That's trash. Throw that out.
Trash.
Throw that shit out. You have to take accountability for your own actions. If you did that shit was already in you. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just to be kind of petty real quick, Peter Griffin got cheated on multiple times by his wife and he never did it back.
Yeah, man. She had a black guy, the neighbors. She did it all.
Listen, man, that woman did everything.
She lived her life. She's living her life.
But she's married. Hey, remember that. She's still married.
She got that ring on her. All right. So, anything you think we missed on that one?
Man, nah, man. I think that was a good episode. Let's you got anything else, man.
And by the way, if y'all people take this media situation too serious, even if you have a concealed handgun license, you cannot allow a minor to use that weapon on somebody else. That's against the law. And after you put in work, you cannot flee the scene. For people that's saying the chick in Chicago shouldn't have got arrested, and that was a falsely arrest and all that shit. You cannot flee the scene after something like that go down. Yeah, that's against the law.
You gotta sit there.
Against the law. Moral situations and morality, and that's a woman and all that. That doesn't work when it comes to the law. So it's interesting when I hear people talk about that case and they're like, "Oh yeah, she's 100% right. Hassan's 100% right." No, that's against the law. They had the right to get arrested. So I just had to throw that in there.
I mean, hey, listen, we both. Well, never mind. I'm gonna say something else, but yeah, we know what to do in those situations. So when you're properly trained, you know what you can't do.
You have to go through a course to get that license, and they told you everything that came with that license. So
they told you everything you have to do. So
right. All right.
That's it.
One in the book.
No, that's it. That's it. Hey, wait, hold on. Wasn't there a lawsuit going on with that situation?
She's suing the state. That's why I brought it up, because she's suing the state for emotional distress, unlawful arrest. She don't feel like they should have been arrested. That's what I'm saying. All this, yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, that was a good episode, man. Great episode, man. That was a great episode.
Yeah, happy 4th of July for people that celebrate it. I don't celebrate the meaning behind the holiday, but I like the pop fireworks. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, he's a firework guy, man. I forgot tomorrow's your day, bro. I forgot
everything
tomorrow.
go boom. Yeah, so on that note, we thank y'all for tapping in. Up top, we got No Ordinary Brother. I go by the name of King Exodus. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Talking That Talk Official Podcast. Tap into the TikTok, Talking That Talk Official, and we on Facebook as well, Talking That Talk Official Podcast. Thank you for watching. Until we see you again, we out.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.